Congratulations. Why? You are one of the growing number of people who also watch my videos and not just evaluate the thumbnails. Yes, indeed, HODL nonsense, that's quite a drastic choice of words, but I will prove it to you in this video. Also, the proof that this bull run is completely different. Yes, hold on, we are still in the bull run and it's far from too late, but this time everything is different. And that, I'll prove that to you after the intro. We need to talk. It's quite drastic because today you can learn from the past. Still, 99% of all retail investors will also lose in this bull run. Just like in the past, because now it's going to get even more drastic. You would just have to copy what the successful, powerful, and rich people are doing, because there's a reason for that they have become rich and powerful. All right, let's set aside the powerful for now, but being rich would already be enough. And yet everyone is falling into the same mistake again. Because for the very first time in this bull run, we have the institutions involved. And for anyone who might not have noticed yet, I hope I don't scare you with this. In this bull run, it's not about you as a small retail investor, and I definitely count myself in that group, becoming rich in any way. Not at all. So, the whole system is designed for you to run into the market with blind FOMO, throwing your money in, and you should ideally leave it that way or liquidate it because you're just overly leveraged. You run into the market. I'll get into that in detail shortly. Because what you can notice here, just from the hodling perspective, is that I also made a post here, by the way. If you're not following me on X yet, you can definitely catch up. Check the description. There's the link for that. And you can see it's really impressive. You have Blackrock, you have MicroStrategy, or now just Strategy, but basically they're buying like crazy. And on the other side, the retail investors are selling. Why do you think that is? But before we solve the puzzle, a big thank you again. Over 1,000 new subscribers in the last 28 days, and incredible appreciation. By the way, if you want to support my work, the growth of this channel, and also my hours of research a bit more, and all of that completely free of charge. So feel free to give a quick like here or leave a comment that boosts the algorithm. And if you're looking for a channel that provides you with fact-based, objective information without the hype, that delivers the most important news and information, then welcome. You're also welcome to subscribe for free and activate the bell so you don't miss any important updates. And now we're diving right in. Here you can clearly see the numbers again. Status 1. In September 2024, Blackrock is in first place, and the world's largest institutional Bitcoin holder with almost 360,000 Bitcoins, by the way, followed by MicroStrategy with, well, just about 230,000 Bitcoins, and they have surpassed Grayscale, which has 225, or rather, almost 226,000 Bitcoins are on the table. And this analysis makes it even clearer because on one hand, you can see here what all the institutions are going to buy. So it doesn't matter if we're talking about the ETFs, which of course are led by Blackrock, or formerly MicroStrategy El Salvador, which is still a bit involved with Mission Tether. And then you have basically you and me and everyone else who is selling here. And you can notice a massive shift, especially in the mining results. Current situation, a lot less Bitcoin is coming onto the market and a multiple more is currently being bought up. So, for example, in January 2025, if we just take the global ETFs, we are talking about 4 to 5 times. What in relation? Fresh Bitcoin is coming onto the market through mining. And here you can especially see that we are clearly talking about holding, but in a different scale. Of course, there are other plans behind that. But it's really massive how the Bitcoin price is rising while more and more Bitcoins are disappearing from the exchanges, which is always the case. The indication for that is you usually don't just keep anything on an exchange. You're just sending it there to sell. Yes, exactly. So when more and more holdings are flowing off the exchanges, it means in plain terms that there are fewer plans to sell, but rather it's being held. Still, I can tell you that this time this bull run is completely different. And here we're mainly talking about the grueling phases, although one has to say, well, did we really have such grueling phases in the past? Definitely. So maybe we felt it less with Bitcoin now, because if we start here, let's say fully bear market up to here, then we're also talking about a corresponding time horizon that we had to endure here before we had that big increase. However, if you pull out other tokens and coins, I've just pulled that out with Solana, of course. You can also say that, yes, not much happened during the bear market. Well, the values before that aren't really representative. But let's just keep looking here. Now, for example, BNB, and now let's go back there. So, especially if someone invested at that time, I can gladly sketch that out for you. If we look from the start to here, how many months did we have to endure? Here, we had to hold on accordingly, and no one expected that something would happen there. And suddenly this thing just goes up from down here. Boom! I don't need to say anything more about the percentage, right? So that's what I always want to share with you. I will now mention several pieces of evidence that this cycle is theoretically not that different, and that even the corrections are quite mild compared to what we've experienced in the past. But as I said, that's always what many say, and I would say that's where Pareto comes into play. You make 80% of your profits with 20% or in 20% of the time. And that's what many aren't willing to wait for and think, I'm going in today. And now this thing has to explode steeply. And when it goes down, wow, then that's it. And just pay attention to the comments in the last few days. Or also pay attention to the opinions in the market. Oh, is there more coming? Oh no, that's it now. So, a few weeks ago, the mood was definitely completely different. And let me get right to why HODL is nonsense, at least for all the more active investors in the space. If you look at the market makers, they're pushing the price up and down however they like. To pick up the corresponding liquidity, then there's the stupid money, meaning those who are overly leveraged in the market and then get liquidated, which in turn feeds the market makers. But if you really understand the game now, then that's a different story, because then you can go ahead and say, okay, if the market makers react this way and that way, then I will react this way and can pull my profits from that. Now, there are certainly options for you to say, yeah, okay, trading and all that, I have no idea about it. So I'll show you this very transparently. This is my grid bot, which I've had running since last Sunday. I showed in a YouTube live how to set it up so that it doesn't get completely over leveraged and liquidate you. Feel free to click here for the video. Definitely when you look at the results, it's really strong because of all these fluctuations. The bot automatically buys when the price drops and sells when it goes back up, and it's been doing that all the time. And when you have a pump in there, you can quickly be in the plus again. Of course, it can also go differently when you look at Ethereum right now. Well, it feels like a total flop or a sideways runner, probably more like a stable coin. Slowly. But aside from that, even with a grid profit, it would still be in the plus. Unfortunately, the price fell again afterwards, but with XRP, for example, it looks completely different. Now, there's also another option if you say, well, a bit more active. I'm already into trading, but I just need the strategies. So I've just launched VIP trading, and that should definitely not be an ad. Not an ad. Yes, open and transparent at BingX. And also with BingX, I get a part of the fees that you would otherwise pay completely to BingX or BingX, so you won't lose it anymore. However, you get the absolute added value here, because I've created this group with 2 profit traders. And the daily, and they post almost daily signals. And when you look at the results, it's really appealing, completely free for you. All you need is a BingX account. And then you can get started, so feel free to check the description. Here's the link and how you can participate in that, but those are the options for how you can definitely get more out of such dry spells. Yes, right now everyone is eagerly anticipating February. What's possible then? Current status. We can clearly say that in February, Bitcoin should definitely dominate, well, at least if history is supposed to repeat itself like we've experienced during the bull run so far, because you can see it here consistently. Except for 2 months in the entire history, Bitcoin has always been positive. So, yeah, the month is still long. We're still at the beginning of the month, and news around Trump can change almost daily. but we should definitely keep an eye on whether the bearish momentum continues or if the bullish momentum comes in. To bring some bullish momentum back in, you see the P-cycle top indicator here. So that means you can see where Bitcoin was at its peak and then fell off. You just need to remember two things here, the red line and the yellow one. When they have crossed over, that's when we had the top. Now, please take a look at the red line and the yellow line. And now, of course, it's not like the yellow one is just shooting straight up here. And that's it, but you can also see the massive increase here until then at all. This crossover happened, so we're still quite far from that. And I don't want to repeat myself, but that's also the reason why many experts are talking about these 120, 130K per Bitcoin, right? And say, yes, that's definitely realistic. There, you see the reason for it. Now, there's another indicator here, namely Bitcoin dominance. And so, sorry friends, maybe I'm seeing this completely wrong, but here we've slipped into a bear market. Now take a look at how the dominance has just plummeted. But now take a look at this. This is a steady increase here. Yeah, there was a correction at one point, but just look at how it shot back up. At the top even here. And as I said, this is very current. And that's why I asked myself this question, or maybe you should too. There are forces out there, the institutions, the market makers, who don't want to see Bitcoin explode right now because they're making way too much money during this phase. So I'll show you that again in a moment. And that's also the reason why it feels like nothing is happening right now. I'm also pretty sure that Bitcoin will, first, it overheats, and of course the dominance shoots up when they have enough of the situation. And they just need to get off the brakes. Then I can really imagine there will be an explosion upwards and everyone will be back under FOMO. And the bull run has really ignited. And then, of course, it will spill over to Bitcoin. But before that halt comes, yeah, there still needs to be a bit of action here. You can also see the general mood in the market quite well here. So now everyone who was still greedy at around 70 or so, I also bought in. There, I'm not excluding myself, who bought in and said, yeah, this is a good window of opportunity. Then take a look at the portfolio and I can give you a tip at this point. So I'm going to show you a few tokens and coins that could be quite interesting right now, but I've only bought in a limited way. Everything I have, and even if it's a few percent in the red, I'm holding on firmly right now because I personally believe very strongly that things will go back up, especially since we shouldn't forget where Bitcoin is currently moving. So there's fear in the market and we're hovering around 100,000. It's crazy. Just go back half a year. But here you can briefly see what I meant by the liquidation waves coming in. So the market makers can collect some juicy profits here. And of course, it's much more interesting here than it used to be. And that's why you let such phases run a bit longer. I've been keeping a conscious eye on this, but I haven't been involved for a long time, and now I'm back in fresh. These are the spot ETFs. What's been flowing in terms of money? Is a lot going in there right now? Is a lot flowing out right now? I'm mainly looking at Blackrock because they are obviously the biggest. We've already had that. And even if it's a 0 day, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. So that just means the buys and sells have basically balanced each other out. But in the end, we don't really see any large outflows right now. And that's why I'm pretty relaxed about it, because to be honest, if institutions are buying at these prices right now, just ask yourself why. And now let's talk about the total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So basically just the altcoins. I drew this triangle back then. Yeah, you can see the breakout downwards. Everything is terrible. Everything is sad. But now I want to bring you back to reality. We're currently shouting that this is a massive loss. Now let's go down here and see a correction of almost 35%. So now let's look at the last bull run, and not from the top, but let's start from here, downwards. The value looks a bit different, doesn't it? And that's what I want to pass on to you. So we're already shouting about a drop of 35%. Here, it was over 60 at its peak. And then there was the massive breakout upwards. So, as I said, that's always a matter of perspective. Of course, that's not great, but on the other hand, the past has proven it time and again. There first had to be this real fear in the market, and the real fear wasn't when people said, oh, we all know how this game works. No, the fear is there when you say, wow, oh, is that it now? Now I'm selling, and we've seen in the last few days how many have sold in panic. Now we can just wait and see how it goes from here. But in my opinion, you can see exactly the corresponding movement here, as it should be. We've seen it again. This is the issue with the penalties that have just completely wiped out the entire market. And especially such events, whether he planned it or not, let's leave that aside. In itself, it's in a completely different cosmos, but it drags the whole market down with it. Down. Now, the big question is, he has a strong personal interest in pushing crypto. He's strong enough to invest himself. So let's just wait and see what news comes next. Is something really coming soon regarding reserves, even though they say it takes years for that? We don't know the current status, so I would stay relatively calm about it. What I've been keeping a close eye on during this correction, and have to say, myself. Now, the price is quite interesting. I bought Cardano much earlier, but just as an example, all these large cap Bitcoins have suddenly taken some serious corrections. Solana, the exact same game. We were already much higher. I've specifically taken the made in USA tokens here, using XRP as an example, down almost 25%. Solana, also down, Cardano down, Chainlink, almost even 30%. SUI is also down 24%, Avalanche, all the big names, Stellar, Hedera, and so on. Those are things that I say I'd better keep an eye on for now. Because, well, I want to be completely open and transparent about this. My portfolio is quite heavy on AI as well, but it's also taking some serious hits. So when I look at it, based AI, I was heavily in the plus, and now it's currently in the minus. I'm still holding on because I believe that thing will come back. It has already proven during this bull run that there is potential behind it. BitTensor, where the biggest block. For the sector, it's questionable whether anything can catch on against it, but it's exactly the same, heavily in the minus, even though I bought after the correction and the price was already somewhere else, so please don't underestimate it. For example, I read about Ondo just yesterday, in case you haven't seen the video yet. You can click here and check it out, and it was exactly the same where someone says, yeah, they're just about to hit their all-time high. Well, the previous all-time high. But these projects have never seen a bull run. That means after the bull run, it's likely that this all-time high will definitely be broken again. And probably significantly. Of course, we can't know for sure. But we're back to the topic. Buy when others are fearful. And here's the well-known heat map again. And you can just see how this game works. Well, that's almost a work of art. To say, here it goes down, bam. Liquidity picked up, liquidity collected, it goes back up, it moves sideways, bam, down again. Nice. Liquidity picked up again, it goes up, bam, picked up again and up. And that's why we have these sideways movements. Now you see it up here, a fat light could potentially lead to us having a rise again. That doesn't mean much for now because we're still in this sideways movement. So unless there's really a massive breakout upwards, what I want to share with you here is to stay calm and understand what the institutional investors and market makers are doing out there. Because then you'll know how you need to trade, and you have the option to either buy, and then it could possibly be a good time, especially without investment advice, or you can go ahead and say, okay, I'll get more into trading and increase my tokens and coins. Both are possible. Feel free to write in the comments what type of investor you are. And if you liked the video, you'd really be doing me a huge favor by leaving a like and subscribing. Everything is free. Of course, also feel free to activate the bell and then you won't miss any important information. In conclusion, I can give you the tip to check out this video as well. I took a detailed look at Ondo. And what's behind it and why it's so exciting? I would check it out. We'll see each other tomorrow in the next video. Until then, all the best. Bye.